From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
It's just different.
I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning, to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth the sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning, to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies,
There are no coincidences. In this world, it just doesn't happen that we are planting apple seed and get orange tree. This is not happening. I'm unhappy with many circumstances in my life, with my body, with my habits that I have. It's not coming from coincidence. It is coming from all of the things that I have done in the past. Take this status quo. How do I feel right now? Where do you see like your areas where you could still improve yourself? And then try to relate this to everything that happened in the past, to your behavior in the past, to your thinking patterns in the past. And just based on this type of observing yourself, taking a moment and watch yourself. What are you talking? What are you thinking? What are you saying? How are you behaving? Just based on that. Normally, if you watch carefully enough, you will already start to build up a connection between the past and who you are right now. So you start to actually realize that you are exactly where you have to be right now. It couldn't have been different.
All right. All right. In Lakesh Alaki. Can everybody hear me clearly? I think so. Yeah, I like my background. So, this is a real impromptu session. So, those of you that made it on here, it's really some important knowledge and information that we need to share so that you can be prepared to maximize some of the cycles and the energies that's to come. Okay. We're also going to put this out on replay because we're really dealing with a huge opportunity to correct the error in the human mind as I see it. And I want to just share with you some of the things I've come to know and experience on a very deep level. Don't take this moment in time and space for granted. Don't multitask. Don't do this is where the time is now for your undivided attention so divinity can have its way in your life. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome to the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And what we kind of do here is unpack what it means to be able to experience cosmic memory and how that helps you to override and overwrite these programs that have us being a limited aspect of ourself in the physical world. Okay. And so the significance of today, just to give an introduction before I do some acknowledgments, uh, we did a project where we re-engineered the 13 moon calendar and the Zolkin calendar as if we would have started it back in 1582 when they started the Gregorian calendar. Now, that was a very significant period from 1582 to right now. It's 444 years. And the significance of it is it really diverted our attention to activities outside of ourselves, which made us a victim of circumstance. It put us in a position to experience that reality. It put us in position to really be able to be in a week days where we were in a daze because we were not focused on the essence and the power of self. And what this did is this tremendously altered, not just back then, but up till now, it's perpetuated forward our human behavior. And so many of you will find it very difficult to navigate on this physical trajectory. And as a result of that, most of the people who are on their spiritual evolution, I hear things like, I don't even want to be in this body no more. But when you know your galactic purpose, you incarnated, right? You had the consciousness to incarnate into a physical body for a purpose beyond just your personal pleasure. And so I want to talk about that today and how that era disrupted that process. And now we have an opportunity right now, not next week, not next moon month, right now to start correcting this process. Ashe? All right. So just take that into consideration. I want to make some acknowledgments to the source of all creation, the Galactic Federation, the Foundation for the Law of Time, the Jewel University of Immortal Sciences, Star Elders, Ancestors, Master Teachers, Indigenous Elders, the Mimic Priesthood, Taineta Muhammad, Kin 67, Balloon Votan, Jose Arguez, Kin 11, Red Queen, Stephanie South, Kin 185, High Priestess Ma'at and Makaru Amin, Kin 242, Dr. Jewel Pukram, Kin 210, Vazak Votan, Wanik Kibi, Tahuti, Shabazz, Kin 86. For those of you that understand the cosmology, which is very significant, whether you study and follow it or not, this creates a combined kin energy of 21, which is the unity of totality. Now, I know I was hearing from High Priestess that the melanin frequency is dealing with unity consciousness, the power of unity right now. But as we talk about the unity of totality, we're talking about all the aspects of mind coming together for this purpose that we have on earth. When you add my kin, which is kin 239 to this equation, 239 plus 21 takes us to the kin 260, which is the final kin of the Zolkin, the total kin of all the expressions of the creator to help us remember our galactic purpose and remember how to clear up our galactic karma. So kin 260 is the yellow cosmic sun. And so we have the alpha in kin 21 and the omega 260, right? All the expressions of the creator, enduring in the power of enlightenment so we can have love for the entire universe. So it's flat out amazing. So these acknowledgments are real. My name, for those of you who are new, is Neb Teharka Kanishkawak, and I am the founder and the chancellor of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. Now, what am I enlightening you about? Well, really, it's about being able to access your cosmic gifts and your galactic powers that's stored in your cosmic memory. Scientists say that we have over 100 million years of memory stored in our brain. The question becomes, how do we unlock that memory so we can reach higher states of consciousness and not be controlled by programs? How do I know we're being controlled by programs? Because our feelings and our emotions are running this show, but they're false emotions. Okay, they really are. The energy and the evolution that's in motion, it does not equate to how we think and feel. And so we have to address that, and we have a prime opportunity to do it right now. Let me just tell you this: because of this era that I'm going to talk to you about, it results in you and your discrepancies with abundance. It results in you and in the discrepancies that we have in disunity, the discrepancies we have in relationships, the discrepancies we have in ill health. It has discrepancies that we have in community building. All of it is tied into the error in human consciousness. And this is indicative of these things that we now need to correct. And so when you're here and you're advancing yourself, you have to take responsibility for what you know. And that means you got to take all out massive action. And so now what it's going to do is going to create an onslaught of challenges in your circumstantial world that you need to say, okay, this is great. I was waiting on you, circumstances and challenges, because with my new consciousness and unleashing the power of my cosmic gifts and galactic powers, I'm going to squash you. And that's the process. That's your rites of passage now to being decoding the matrix, so that it can no longer limit you to just the limitations in your physical being. So let's get on into it. Some of the things I'm going to talk about, we're not going to be on here long, but it's going to be strong. We're going to talk about the 1260 frequency, which is the 12-month calendar and the 60-minute clock, how it creates a lock on our consciousness, a C lock, consciousness lock, clock. And then versus the 1320 frequencies that frees us from this consciousness lock and allows us to evolve into the superhuman. I'm going to say that again. It helps us to evolve into the superhuman. If in those 100 million years that I'm going to talk to you about, accessing, there is a synchronistic nature of the superhuman that you are to unlock while you're human. So that means you shouldn't be struggling for money. You shouldn't be struggling to remember. You shouldn't be struggling with your health. That you should be unlocking the nature of your being, which is a superhuman. And we kind of call that the synchronistic human. All right. But to do that, we have to resolve the conflict between the digital age and spirituality. All right. And so the New Year Gregorian synchronicities will distract you, right? And make you think in the material world that you have something that you're going to gain in these illusions, but really you're going to backslide. All right, we're going to talk about crossing the bridge into consciousness versus the error of consciousness. Once we correct the error, we're going to cross the bridge of consciousness and then tap into the holographic universe. Because did you know that what your reflection is from your projection? Y'all didn't hear me. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about some upcoming events and some closing remarks. Okay. So let's just talk about this vision statement. The goal on this session, and some of you have seen this before, some of you haven't, is to transcend our minds, right? Deep into our cosmic memory circuits as we awaken from a deep state of amnesia. Now, this is why the artificial illusions have us, I call it, in a feedback loop. All right. Awaken from a deep state of amnesia in order to move from the information age. All right. We've already had that into the telepathic age of our existence and establish a new world of highly telepathic beings that we're going to label the superhumans. All right. And so this is so powerful because I want to start that today, as of today, right? This would be the kin that this Gregorian calendar would have started on in 1582. Now, let's just go through the convergence that took place back then so you can see this error in time and how we're going to correct it. The Julian calendar started in 468 or 46 BC by Julius Caesar. It accounted, here's the discrepancy. It accounted for a leap year every fourth year. All right. The Julian calendar was off 11 minutes per year. All right. The Gregorian calendar, so we go from 46 BC now to 1582. So that's over 1600 years that took place. And so Pope Gregory the 13th called this time frame in the gravest concerns. They were concerned about how this perpetuation of the calendar from the Julian calendar affected and infected the human psyche and where they was and would impede their progress for where they wanted to go in 1582. Now, this all was introduced on February the 24th, 1582. So they had this big meeting called in the gravest concern. And so they got everybody alarmed. So the Gregorian calendar was proclaimed in 1582 by Pope Gregory the 13th to reform the Julian calendar. Now, they were doing what we're doing right now, but theirs took 1600 years and ours took 444 years. Now, why is this significant, especially for those of us who are melanated? Because in our natural mind, we're being infected and affected by artificial time. So the Gregorian calendar actually began in 1582 on October the 4th. And so what we did is we re-engineered what the kin number would have been on that date. And guess what it would have been? It would have been kin 219. Wow. Guess what kin it is today, family? Kin 219. Right? So we're going to talk about the essence of kin 219 and what it represents in the mind of humans and why it was used as a transformation point for humanity at that point to focus on what the world wanted the human psyche to focus on. I'm going to be talking to you about what the Galactic Federation wants you to focus on as the human mind today. All right. So although the reform was welcomed by many astronomers, right, It was also seen to be the work of the Antichrist by others. And the Gregorian calendar wasn't really accepted. Now, this was 1582. It didn't really get accepted to Russia until 1918. That's over 300 years of refusal, of resistance. And so now you can see the resistance in some of the powers that be today. Okay. Now, why is this significant? Well, here's what the calendar looked like in 1582 on October the 4th. And here is the discrepancy that we're in the gravest concern. Okay. On October 4th, which was a Thursday. All right. The solution for a 14-day discrepancy from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar was to skip 10 days on the Gregorian calendar, to skip 10 days to correct it. Now, there were 14 days in discrepancy. And this put us, the skipping of the 10 days put us in the days of the week. That means that that you in the weekdays, your consciousness is in the weekdays. This is the beginning of the modern era in time and human consciousness. The modern era. Back then, this is responsible for the limitation of the human mind in the physical realm, and it began on what we call October the 4th. This is when it started. When everybody woke up on that Friday, it was October the 15th. Where did the time go? Where did the consciousness go? Now, because time isn't linear, you can't just skip on a calendar 10 days and not be and to be able and not be able to infiltrate, right, and cause damage to the human psyche, because you can't skip consciousness okay, let me tell you something else. So when we're dealing with calendrical systems, calendars, there's a paper side, and then there's the consciousness of the movement of all the planets. Where were the planets these other 10 days that we skipped? Okay, where were the galactic tones, the cosmic tones of creation? And where were the 20 dynamic frequencies of light that speak to us on a spiritual and an energetic light level? So what happened is, because this was skipped and it wasn't questioned the way we're questioning it now, we were trapped in our physical body, limited, right? Trapped with the limited emotions, the limited by the era of the emotions in the physical body. So this gave credence to be able to manipulate, all right, the humans to focus on something outside of themselves versus focusing on the consciousness inside of them. Now, what did they focus on is the question. Where they focused on exploring the new world, land. And in exploring the new world, right, they wanted to what? Possess the land, so they had to colonize the land. Those that had this agenda. And it's not just land that was there, it was what? People that were there, indigenous cultures that were there, right? Once the colonization took place, now they enslaved the people on the land. So they're exploring the new world, but they're doing it in the form of land, but there's people with spiritual powers on this land. And so instead of helping them to expand their spiritual power, they wanted to conquer them. The conquistadors wanted to conquer them, and they did it in a number of subtle ways: religion, trickery, famine, etc. Right? And so because we were in a weekdays, we were able to accept this, and then now we were seeing God, the power of God, as being outside of us. And this is where the religion started to emerge to control the people in an undivine way. Okay, now I'm not saying that all the purposes for religions were to do this, but this created religious wars and zealotry. And so now this affected not only the human psyche and consciousness, but it affected human behavior. So now we had to seek something else. in spirituality and technology to compensate for what we've missed in spirituality. And so now you see this perpetuated forward 444 years. Now we're in the digital age. We're in the age of artificial intelligence. We're not even thinking about absolute intelligence, which overrides artificial intelligence. So we started on Kin 219, and then on 200, right? 230, Kin 230, we now started a whole new way of consciousness for the human. Those kin before, knowledge integrated naturally, were skipped over and passed over. So now those people who did not remember, those they have forgotten. Now those are the forgotten kin. It's like there was a lobotomy done on the mind. And so now the human is only moving forward with part of his spiritual power, part of his galactic gifts and cosmic gifts and galactic powers, part of a being, not a unified whole. And so therefore, this manipulation for centuries have taken place. And now it's about to get worse because of artificial intelligence. Are you with me? So what I'm here to show you is 444 years later, we have a greater problem, a graver concern than we had in 1582. The question is if you can see it, what do we do about it? Well, I'm gonna give you some answers of what we're gonna do about it. But just to give you some meaning, we got to start with the calendar. The 12-month calendar is really obscure. It's obsolete and it's false. It's a false calendar. It's a man-made calendar, and I call it false because it's no connection to any cosmic cycles, really. It's an illusion. January is the doorway of God. February is obscure reference to entrails in a form of divination, right? March is named after Mars, the god of war. So look what we got going on right now: war, 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 war. Because we're in the weekdays. And we at war with ourselves. We at war with the feminine and the masculine. We at war with the adults and the children. It's war, 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 war. April and May were named after goddesses of the springtime. June was named after Juno, the wife of Jupiter. July was named after Julius Caesar. And it should have been what, the 6th month or sextile. August was named after Augustus Caesar. And so this was Julius Caesar's cousin. And at the time, it only had 30 days, but they took a day from February to make it 28. So they could have 30 days, 31 days like July. I used to always wonder why July had 31 days and then August right after it had 31 days. And nowhere else in the Gregorian calendar where that exists. And here's the story behind it. This is the drama that's behind it. September means septa means 7, but it's the 9th month. Some of you heard this ringtone, right? But I'm going over it again. Some of you heard this, some of you haven't. Octo means 8, but it's the 10th month. November means 9, but it's the 11th month. And December means the 12th month means 10. So can somebody tell me why we celebrating and following this calendar? I'm going to tell you, because you're brainwashed. I was brainwashed because nothing about this calendar when I read this makes any sense. And even though I talk about this, there's cognitive dissonance. There's cognitive dissonance here, right? All right. So my picture should come back up in a second. But there's cognitive dissonance here because I share this, and now people still are tapped into celebrating this calendar, the conquest of their own mind, the weekdays of their own mind, the amnesia of their own mind, and justifying it, right? And really what we're celebrating, can y'all hear me? Y'all hear me okay? Okay, so what we're celebrating, what I share this, for the last 10 years, I don't know how many hundreds of times. And what I realize is that we have cognitive dissonance. And that just means that we keep celebrating a calendar that is the conquest of our own mind. We keep celebrating birthdays on this calendar. And every time we celebrate it, we're indoctrinating ourselves into the false God, the projection and the focus of energy outside of ourselves. And so therefore that puts us in the weekdays. And because we're in the weekdays, we can be controlled, contained, colonized, and enslaved. So now, how do we need to change it? Well, first of all, you need to decide to. First, you got to get rid of following and celebrating this Gregorian calendar because it's quite a spell and it's quite a program. It's a very subtle program because everything is in the calendar. Whether this was diabolically done or not, it's very, very sweet how it works. It works. The plan is working. Okay. So we have to understand that as we get rid of this, now what do we replace it with? Now there's a lot of things to replace it with, so I'm gonna talk about it. But look at this calendar. It's 6 months with 31 days. That's 217. So it's just 217 2 days ago. 5 months with 30 days, that's 120, right? 1 month with 28 days, and one time is 29 days every 4 years, right? For a total of total days, 365 days. Now, based on the solar orbit, right? This is the Earth going around the sun. This promotes time as a mechanical function powered by money and capital in the capitalistic paradigm. So this has created something we call the technosphere. And the technology, we haven't even gotten to the digital aspect of it, but it's the technology that's robbing our mind of creativity, right? And so, in building the technosphere and artificial consciousness that controls the human psyche, because again, we're in the weekdays, you can control anything when it's in the weekdays. And technology thrives and advances rapidly, while our own human consciousness is feedback looping. Isn't it time to change? Absolutely. What are you doing? So so whatever your spiritual system is, whatever you know, if you still following the Gregorian calendar, you're limiting yourself. You are cutting your nose off despite your face right now as we speak. And so we have to do something about it. You see? And then they took away the 10 days, Atari, and there really was a 14-day discrepancy. So the problem was when the days were taken away, it left us in the days, and we did not account for what these other calendars were trying to show us and how to advance our minds. It made us just 1/3 of who we are in terms of the being. It made us strictly physical in the limitations of the physical. But what about the spiritual aspect of our being? We had to incarnate from the etheric realm through the spirit. What about the akasha? The electronic light body that gives us an imagination. See, all that was compromised for the conquest of the mind to explore a new world and to build technology. So now this 1260 artificial time frequency we call the technosphere is the time and money paradigm. And so it gets you focused on money as an illusion to control your emotions, to control your mind, to control your ability to advance yourself is all based on money for the most part in this world. Now, the natural time frequency is the power of synchronicity. right? And this is where time is energy factored by art equals time. Energy factored by time is art. It's what we create in this realm. So it starts in your purpose, is what it starts with. All right. Let's talk about what the artificial frequency does. It promotes the illusion of scarcity. Now, this first program of scarcity. Now, I felt this, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show y'all what you feel. There isn't enough time. How many of y'all feel that? There's never enough time, is it? There's never enough money. I don't have enough money to do this for my kids. I don't. If I had more money, I would do this. I would focus on my purpose. How many of y'all, or is it just me that experienced this? So I'm gonna show you how to alleviate it. There's not enough natural resources. There's not enough. And then guess what? Then it gets to you're not enough. You see how the program is feeding on your psyche? So you can get on here and say, oh yeah, I know my purpose, I know this, but then you'll be looking at the mirror and you'll be living in quiet desperation, looking at yourself and saying, I'm not enough, am I? I'm getting all this knowledge, but I'm broke financially. If I was so advanced spiritually, why am I broke? Why can't I do this for my children? Why can't I do that? And so because you're not enough, you're programmed to fail. That means in the technosphere, programs expire, they don't inspire. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do is shift the frequency. Frequency is the currency, right? So the solution is we now move to the natural time frequency, right? Which promotes abundance. What it starts with purpose. The universe and the power of nature and the power of synchronicity focuses on purpose. So all you got to do, 10% of the equation is your purpose. The other 90% is supported by nature and the power of synchronicities to carry out your purpose. So once you are solid on your purpose, right? The universe supports the carrying out of your purpose. You just have to go through the process of focusing your will until it materializes on the physical plane. But what happens? Because we're in the weekdays, we run out of gas. We get tired. We get discouraged. We're working with the wrong people. We're saying we keep digging up the seeds that we plant and saying, why haven't you grown yet? Quit digging up those seeds. They're going to grow when they're properly nourished. And so after compulsion, there's compassion. There's being able to develop complete certainty about yourself and what it is you're here to do. There's planetary consciousness that you're here to support the planets. You're unified with nature. And then once you unify with nature, you automatically become, when you're unified with nature in your heart, telepathic, and your extrasensory abilities start to emerge. When you ain't got no purpose, there's no need for you to be telepathic. You got cell phones, you got technology, but here's how the transformation happens. And if you allow yourself the opportunity, you will. Let's talk about the energy factor by time equals art equation. The law of time, which helps govern the fourth dimension of thought. So to get right results, you got to have the right thoughts, right thinking. The law of time states that energy factored by time equals art. In this equation, E refers to all the phenomena in their processes of unfoldment, right? It's all consciousness. T, it represents the moment. So that's why right now is the time. This the only time. I don't care what time it says on the clock. Right now is the time for you to get free. Right now is the time for you to prosper. Right now is the time for you to heal. Not when a calendar or a clock disguised as a consciousness knock tells you, right? So T is the present moment functioning according to the ratio 13 cosmic tones of creation where thoughts evolve into things and 20 dynamic frequencies of light we call solar seals. Everything is shaped by the art of tonology and the art of the light. The galactic tree of light brings life. All right, the 13 moon calendar is an evolutionary tool to assist humanity in the unprecedented act of uniting itself on one central issue, complete well-being, time. Now, this is synonymous with the 13 cycles of the female avatar. So everything I'm telling you from this point forward, you can find in the physical body. It's not something that's out there. You exploring the new world. You exploring your inner world to remember and put yourself back together as the unity of totality so you can dominate any program that tries to limit your mind, which is going to limit yourself. And yourself, the power of God, is an infinite mind wave. That means that it's nothing that can stop it. It's unlimited in what it can do. Ashe? All right. So now time is the issue combined with an inescapable order, perfection, and the simplicity of following the 13 moon calendar. Watch this. Will lift the species. What species am I talking about? The human species into a simultaneous whole into the galactic timing frequency of 1320. Now the problem is that there's a transition and a learning curve for this, and it challenges us because the other thing about the mechanical timing program is it wants us to want instant gratification versus delayed gratification. And if it's not instant, if it's not 1 second or 1 minute, we get bored easily and we stop. And I've been doing this process for 10 years. I cannot believe where I am now versus 10 years ago. I can't remember where I was 10 years ago. I can't remember where I was 1 year ago. And what we're about to do on this planet is unprecedented as a way. And some of you are right there, but you're weary. Some of you are right there, but you're questioning, does the cosmology work? And so as a result, you're going to be limited, even though you got advanced consciousness for your being. Ashe? All right, we're getting through here. So crossing the bridge of consciousness is what we have to do. We have to realize that this particular calendar, the Gregorian calendar, is now obsolete. And say that with me. It's going to be hard though, because you celebrate birthdays. You put all your appointments in the Gregorian calendar. You got everything in here in the seasons in the Gregorian calendar. You got your astrology in the Gregorian calendar. And so you need to get your astrology in the 13 moon calendar and the 13 constellations and not the 12, and watch what happens to your psyche. And so now two of the tools that we use is for the 13 moon calendar and the galactic timing calendar called the Zolkin, the 260-day calendar that creates 260 expressions of the creator that it took us to become physical. And so now we're remembering the 260 phases that it took for us to become physical. And now we're unstoppable in this artificial world. We're out of this jurisdiction of governance because we practice self-governance. All right. So as we're crossing the bridge of consciousness, just by following these cycles, we start to unlock the consciousness lock. We start to remember and alleviate the amnesia that we're in. And now we can be more intentional about our cosmic gifts and galactic powers. But a lot of people are trying to do this process while holding on to the Gregorian attachments, to the material attachments that are really illusions that's limiting your being, because it makes you think you need this in order to survive. All right. And so right now we're in the cosmic turtle moon. Watch this. So now we're forgetting about exploring the new horizon, right? Exploring the new world, and we're exploring our world, right? First, if we go within, we won't go without. And that means that what we're projecting from within is now a reflection of our own consciousness, not some other program that's telling us to be limited. So this moon asked the question, look at what it asked. And I'm going to show you why this is significant. You got a few more plasmas to do this. It asked, how can I? You know how powerful that is? See, when you make a statement, you're telling your brain not to think. I'm tired. I'm this. I'm that. Okay, your wish is my command. But when you say, brain, how can I expand my joy and love? You just have empowered yourself to become more magnetic to what your intentions are from your thinking. So if your intention is, how can I obtain more energy so I can fulfill these tasks? You may need to get some water. You may to get move need to get moving. You may need to do some certain exercise. You may need to do some stretching. You may need to just shake yourself and loose yourself of the letharginess. Because I guarantee you, if somebody kicked in your door right now and they came in here with guns, you wake up real fast. So that means it's possible for you to have energy, right? And so if you look at it, we're on the 20th plasma. 20, the number 20 is the number of totality. And this is being influenced by the radioplasma, right? Which is dealing with, which helps open up the solar plexus chakra of focus. And then the archetype is the storm. The storm deals with transformation, and the tone that is influencing the storm is the spectral tone. It's telling you to dissolve. So just like in 1582, when they said dissolve the Julian calendar and dissolve the human psyche ability to go within itself. So we're going to show it something outside of itself, and we're going to string it along for 400 years to build an artificial world that now is going to trigger the memory of those who came here spiritually to correct the timing error of the human race. And guess who those people are? They're people right now that's listening. That's a part of this human race that's correcting, that they come here to rescue the human race. Because their mind is gone into artificial frequencies. All right. Now we can really talk. The affirmation that's associated with this kin states, I dissolve. Now, dissolve, I want you to replace dissolve with resolve. Because we're in the wave spell, or the cycle of evolution that's dealing with purification or disciplining ourselves to be a better version. So I dissolve this calendar that's having me be limited in order to catalyze what? To catalyze something greater in me. This is releasing energy of the totality of my beingness. Not doing. Who you are is to be or not to be. Once you decide to be, you don't have to worry about doing, because you already have a set of behaviors. Being is having. Being already comes with having. That's why behavior is your savior. But most of your behavior is limited to the artificial construct. So releasing the energy, right? You seal the matrix of self-generation. Let's talk about the self. The self is the unlimited power of God, and the gene rations of the self are now influencing your DNA to be unlimited in the body. Did you know that? That the power of self, and why you need to focus on yourself, right, is you now are going to access the unlimited powers of the universe, the omnipresent and omnipotent mind. And so now when you do that, what is going to stop you? Who cares about your family member that doesn't believe in what you're talking about? You're producing money, you're producing healing, you're producing telepathy, you're producing extrasensory perception, you're producing something that ain't nobody else producing. And guess what? You can't argue with production. So now why you worried about what other people think? You're not, because you just focused on being. You're generating the self from the spirit. You're generating the self from an unlimited mind. So what can stop you in this artificial illusionary world now? Nothing. And so with the spectral tone, you become liberated. You become free of the matrix that binds you to these programs that expire and don't inspire. Ooh-wee. Somebody getting something out of this today. And look at what it says. I'm guided by my own power. Whose own power? Who's mine? Yours, right? Not my power. Now, and guess what? You can't even stop it. You can't even stop it. You're guided by your own power double, my own power double. Now, I'm not going to say your power, because I'm not guided by your power. I'm guided by my own power double. Ken 239 Neb, Teharka, Kanish, Kawa is not guided by your power double. I'm guided by my own power double. So what's going to stop me now? Nothing. That's why I said nothing's going to stop me. All right. So let's say it 2 more times with passion. I dissolve. And or see, it means something different than Thursday. It means something different than 1582. It's bigger than that. It's galactic. It's universal. I dissolve in order to catalyze, releasing energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation with the spectral tone of liberation. I am guided by my own power doubled. 1 more time. 2, lock it in. We're sending a message to the universe. And if you don't say nothing, you sending a message to the universe that I am nothing. And therefore you will have nothing, and you will continue to have the knowledge and be controlled by these programs, and you don't even have to. You got the power right here. I dissolve in order to catalyze, releasing energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation. It's a whole matrix of self-generation, not the matrix of the technosphere. We seal the matrix of self-generation, the unlimited power of the self, with the spectral tone of liberation. Now you're liberated from the artificial matrix of artificial time, and you got it by your own power double. That means you guiding yourself. So what you're thinking right now, you're right. And if you're limited in your thinking, you're limited in your being. That's right. I'm going to say it for the MF in the back and the front, side to side. And if God is on your side, is God on your side? Let me tell you the side. You know the side you want God to be on? Do you know the side that you want? You want God to be on the inside. You don't want God to walk next to you. I'm gonna challenge you. You want God to walk in you. Yep. It's on my inside. And when God is on your inside, what inside of your what? Your heart. The heart will control your mind and will not allow your ego to deceive you into being less than you came here with and for. So now we've set the frequency for a new time in this moment. And so now our consciousness can go up. So many a time people in the consciousness of shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire. They love their desires more than they love the power of God. And their anger, they think they're gonna get angry at the illusion. They think they're gonna get angry at what their reflection is, and the reflection gonna change. So if you're looking at the mirror and you break the mirror, it's gonna change the reflection, but you broke the mirror, but you didn't change you. So when you go in another mirror, you're gonna look the same way you did in the previous mirror. So don't get mad at the projection, get mad at the reflection, get mad at the projector and the projection, and change it. That's all you use anger for, is to change, not to control. Those who always get angry, they want to control something. Ask me how I know. Pride. I got to make people be like me for me to be comfortable. And if not, I got to control them with anger and get aggressive with them. That's what this whole European entourage is. As long as you're doing what the European agenda is, it ain't no problem. As soon as you start want to be cultural and be African, then there ain't no support for that. So that's why you need your whole mind, and you can't hide from yourself. That's correct. Kin 165. So it takes courage. See, once you start with courage, you start empowering yourself. And then you move into neutrality, where you trust the universe is working on your behalf. And then you move into a willingness that as long as I can keep focusing, I can materialize on this plane. And then you get to self-acceptance. I am the source and I am the creator of my experience. This is what you missed in 1582 that perpetuated forward today. Nothing has changed since 1582 in the human psyche. All the changes that you see is in technology. The human psyche is still subservient to governing, so to a governmental agency governing your mental. So you haven't gotten anywhere until you practice self-governance, because you elevating your own consciousness. You're not institutionalized thinking an institution going to do it. That's just to get you a job in the matrix to indoctrinate you further. So that's okay for a moment until you realize I can do this even better for myself. right? So self-acceptance, I am the source and I am the creator of my own experience. That's what I'm accepting, right? The self-accepting of pride down to shame is I'm just accepting the way things are, which means you are a victim of circumstance. I can't change that they redlining. I can't change that they still hanging people. I can't change that they doing this. I can't change that they doing that. But you can change your self-consciousness into self-acceptance and realize that I'm creating it. And so now when you create it, you ain't gonna create you being redlined. You ain't gonna create you being targeted. You ain't gonna create the things in consciousness that you experience negatively so you can become positive. Reason. This is the highest level of artificial intelligence, but we think it's God. How many of you, artificial intelligence has become your God, and your God is absolute intelligence, not artificial. And artificial pales in comparison to absolute intelligence. And so after you now empowered yourself with logic and reasoning that everybody can learn, now you move into love and you become, guess what? You reach the point of revelation where all the truths are revealed to you. That's why you can't judge, because the truth don't get revealed to you until you reach the real truth. Don't get revealed to you until you reach a state of compassion and you reach a state of consciousness of unconditional love for self. Then you reach the point of joy. Joy is the expression of unconditional love for self and can influence 750,000 people at one time. Not be influenced by one negative person. You can influence 750,000 negative people if you're really operating with this in your heart. You see? Peace and tranquility. And then there's enlightenment, where you can influence 7.5 million people that are operating their life from pride down to shame. And did you know this? Did you know that 80% of people right now on this planet are operating from pride down to shame, where their reality is self-acceptance, is they just accept what happens to them and try to work around it as a victim of circumstance? How much are we going to evolve spiritually that way? How much are we going to be able to tap into our cosmic gifts and galactic powers that way? We're not going to be able to. It's a delusion of the illusion. So now enlightenment, watch this, don't hang up yet, because tomorrow is Kin 220. And this would have been the first Kin that would have been skipped. 220, if we re-engineered the calendar back in 1582. And guess what the sun focuses on? Enlightenment, pure consciousness, where you could have been focused on yourself and influencing 7.5 billion people, but guess what? Million people, I would say, but it may not have even been 7.5 million people on the planet at that time. But you would have been able to influence that if you focused on yourself first and then focused on exploring the new world. But that was a disguise. That was an illusion to get you off your square of yourself. And so what's going to happen is, guess what? The reason why we're having this conversation, and I hope you can hear me more clearly, is because once you reach the state of enlightenment, now you can tap into the hollow mind perceiving, the holographic universe through the hollow mind perceiver. That you can experience your reality as a hologram, not as a program. Now, based on what I said, which one do you want to experience your reality at? Which one? You want to experience it as a hologram, or you want to experience it as a program? Tell me. I'd like to know. You see? Because once you figure that out, now you're going to be, one of them is a victim of circumstances, and the other creates their life by design, not by default programs. But to create the holographic universe, you got to understand what the power of the whole mind is and how it works through the spirit and the body. And once you get that down, nothing will be able to mess with your head. No circumstance. You have a circumstance right now that's bothering you. You'll be able to fix it within moments or within a day and be like, wow. But you know why? You know why? You can't fix your problems because you're too focused on the problem. And that's what the machine world and the programs get you to do. Focused on your limitations, so you can't solve the problem, but you get mad at the problem. You see? And so now here we go. All right. So I wanted to share that with you that we're in a state, right? And I'm gonna show you something. From July 17th, which starts tomorrow, to July the 26th, we're going to cover all the 10 kin. Kin 220 is tomorrow. Kin 221 is on Saturday. Kin 222, 223, 224, 225, the next 10 consecutive days. We have the power to restore the consciousness of the human psyche and operate in the whole mind or the holographic world from this point forward. And so if you're somebody that listens to this and want to participate, you're going to need to reach out to me. You're going to need to email me so I know you're on board. Because let me tell you, this ain't for everybody. I'd rather run with a few than drag 100. This ain't something for everybody. This ain't faddish or cliquish. This ain't the end thing. This requires you to take responsibility for your incarnation. And once you do that, everything in your incarnation is under your jurisdiction. Ashe? And so this is what's happening. This is what's significant about this period. And then so we start the new cycle on July 26th on the purification of consciousness, the integrity of the purification of consciousness, which means we have fully corrected the error of time and we have practiced that now. We practiced that for a whole year from July 26th this year to July 24th next year. And as we get through that whole process of purification, the error of time and in your mind of human consciousness will be completely removed. But if you keep feedback looping, which most of you gonna do because it's comfortable, it's comfortable for you. And some of you believe more in the program. Some of you believe more in your illnesses. Some of you believe more in the deficit you have financially than you do the power of God in you. And what I'm attempting to do is change that for you today. I just had some miracles happen today for me. So I know it works. Okay. So you email me. We're going to have a personal conversation about how you need to focus for this next 360 Earth rotation starting on July the 26th. There's some information that you need to get now between now and then. But I'm gonna tell you, this time next year, there's nothing to stop you, and you'll be working in tandem with the planetary consciousness of this Earth, and this consciousness will be completely different. The noosphere will be completely established, and the emergence of the superhuman will be in place. Now, I'm not playing with y'all. If it's one or two of y'all, we're gonna run with one or two. We're not going to be edutaining people so they can feel like they might do something they ain't going to do. The time is now. And so you have to determine right now who's the one. I'm the one. I'm the plus one. I'm the unity of totality because I'm here because I realized my incarnation was all about me recognizing that I'm the one. I'm the self. I'm the etheric. I'm the source of all creation to decide to design a body to correct this error in time and mind right now on this planet. And so right now you have everything that you ever need right now. You don't need nothing else. But let me just tell you, that's not true. You do need something else. You need to make a decision that you're not turning back. You need to make a decision that this is it. I'm putting all the cards on the table. You need to make a decision that from this day forward, I'm going to continue to work on operating myself with the highest expression of my being. And if you do that, if you can do that 1% of who you are and who you want to become every day, you'll be 365 times better than you are today, this time next year. And it will, instead of you realizing yourself as God, you will actualize yourself as God. And so we got to stop conceptualizing and realize so we can actualize. I'm gonna say it again. Stop stops conceptualizing, it's okay to know the concepts, but you just can't stop there, right? The concepts helped you realize so you can actualize. That's the process that we're going through. Whew. You're welcome to join us on a very important knowledge session that we're going to be doing this Sunday. And it's the spirit of consciousness lost in time. Because guess what? This is on Kin 222, the evolutionary wave spell, the evolutionary cycle, the spirit, how the spirit evolves. We're going to talk about it and what you're going to need to do so your spirit can evolve in your body and on this planet so you can fulfill your galactic purpose on Earth. That's what we're going to be talking about. On Kin 222, look at the numerology of that. Okay? On the yellow, on the white magnetic wind, the spirit of consciousness lost in time. We're going to find it and we're going to restore it, and you're going to be soaring like the eagles traveling to Zavuya. I guarantee you. Don't miss this. Don't be somewhere at a pool party or something. You want to be at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time listening to what I'm telling you about the spirit. Now, those of you that email me, I'm going to fill you in on what I'm going to be doing on each one of these plasmas, each one of these kin that was skipped starting tomorrow. I'm not going to broadcast it to everybody. I'm going to put out the replay of this, and those people who email me and are serious, I'm going to let them know where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be talking about. And those people are going to be examples. Those people are going to be testimonials to what I'm talking about. So you can see it in somebody else other than me and watch what happens to your life. All right. I want to close by saying the law of holonomy. This is where the hollow mind perceiver comes from, states that we are systems energetically in larger systems, which means that we are connected on a fifth dimensional energetic level. Your introduction to consciously entering the synchronic order supports the process of humanity shifting completely from the information age of programs into the telepathic age of your natural mind and existence. Therefore, we allow nature and the power of synchronicity to work on your behalf. Ultimately, watch this, we will resolve the inner conflict of the 1260 artificial time frequency that has us in the weekdays and the 1320 natural time frequency that keeps us trapped in traumas and dramas from blockages from the past. Remember, evolution is the solution. So this 1260 frequency keeps us trapped in traumas and dramas and triggers and blockages from the past and limitations of the physical being. The purpose of the natural time frequency is to liberate you from all that. And remember, evolution is the solution. Some of you going to need to look at this replay. The synchronistic human defined as someone who's able to be multidimensional while unifying the energy of the fifth dimension from the synchronicities that are already working on your behalf from natural time frequencies and cycles towards the whole evolution. That's what holonomic means, the whole evolution of humanity as Mother Earth, as the galactic whole. They're all the same. They're just different versions of the self. And when you realize that, you're going to dominate on this planet. You're going to dominate in this galaxy, and you're going to dominate your existence as a sentient being, the human on this earth. On behalf of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment and all of its faculty, staff, and students, and all of you who are guests looking at this for the first time or kicking the tire, or you may have heard about it, but you didn't hear it this way. I want to thank you for taking the time space to rescue your own human psyche and to participate in your own evolution. And so I want to take this time and reserve this time, the next 5 or so minutes, for any questions that you may have. This is not a recording. This is a live stream. And so if you got some questions, put it in the chat so that you can get your questions answered and you can liberate yourself during this period, because that's what's taking place. That's the whole reason why we're doing it. We ain't doing this to stay average. We're doing this to evolve beyond measure. And we got the tools to do it if you can focus. But many of you are distracted. Now, since it ain't no questions, I want to definitely tell. Oh, definitely. Thank you for putting the donations in. So let me tell you about donations. When you donate to something that inspired you, you tell the universe to multiply your donation times 10. Isn't that powerful? You donate $100, you could be looking for the universe to send you 1,000, because inspiration creates a magnetic field to attract it. How about that? So if you're inspired, see, when you're inspired, you don't get tired. You don't get tired. And that means that you have the energy. When people say, God give me the strength to do X, Y, Z, God give me the energy to do X, Y, Z. Well, now you got it. All right. So if I were you, so this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do, because these are some of the questions that I will ask. How, if I'm in a bad relationship, can I execute on the stuff that you're talking about? Because I don't just want it to be hype. You see, the people getting off, and they don't see, the people who ask the questions control the conversation. They have intelligence. You see? All right. So the question you should have, if I'm in a bad relationship right now, or how about if I'm in a family that doesn't support me? What if I'm in a family that's really religious, and if I start doing singing bowls, and I start listening to this, and I start practicing this, they may not support me no more. And so how do I do this? So that's a question I would ask if I was you. Here's another question that I would ask if I was you. Hey, how important is financial success? I mean, so is this something that we need to be financially successful to do? Or what's the significance of financial success? And let me tell you that money is a frequency, and it's really spiritual. That's what I found out. And so because of our anger about money from our colonizers and this, but money goes beyond just the American currency. We on the cosmic currency. And the cosmos keeps evolving. The cosmos keeps appreciating itself by evolving. And appreciation means to add value to itself. So how are you adding value to you? You keep adding value to you, you're going to prosper. And you're going to have money and resources to do what you need to do on this planet. But if you don't have a purpose, if you don't believe in the power of the unlimited power of yourself, if you don't think that you have the ability to think correctly and be able to design your life on this planet, then you won't. You see, you won't. Your perspective, right, is your reality. Think about that. Your perspective is your reality. Whatever you think is the real thing. And you can see what everybody thinks in their heart based on what you're experiencing in your life. Another question I would ask, what about my children? My children, they go to these type of schools, and these type of schools don't talk about this cosmology this way. And I'm so tired from what I got to do with my children. I'm so I haven't created the environment for my children to evolve like how you talking. How does what can you do to help my children? Well, first thing you can do to help your children is help yourself. And once you start leading and getting results, guess what your children are going to do? They're going to follow suit. Just like when you cook dinner and they're hungry, what do? They eat. Don't they? When you cook, do they eat? Because they following you. And so when you start performing, when you start producing with this state of mind, they're gonna want to hear what you got to say, because you're getting results. How you get those kind of results, mom? How you getting those kind of results, dad? Well, let me tell you, it's how I think, and it's how I behave based on my state of being. You see? So you need to get your questions answered, because let me tell you, you need to get your questions together when you email me, because I don't want anything to impede your progress from evolving from this information. But you repressing and suppressing your questions. You see, you don't got to answer them now because they might be private questions. And I won't share your questions with anybody. But once you get your questions answered and you have complete certainty, guess what? You're going to be successful beyond your wildest dreams. But your questions are stopping you. The who you think you are is stopping you. And don't let who you are stop you from who you can become in this experience. You came here for a divine reason. You're not a spiritual being having a human experience. You decided to dream yourself human because you wanted to experience something that you experienced in the ethers in the body. And so get them questions answered. Stop negotiating with yourself and being okay and rationalizing being broke. Stop rationalizing. Maybe I'm too old to have this type of relationship. Stop rationalizing. Can I get over this illness? Of course you can. But because that's how you think, that's what you have. Your perception is your reflection. So can we cut it out? Can we stop it right now? Can we stop parlaying? Can we stop fronting like we know so much and living in quiet death? Can we do it? Now I'm telling you, it's going to take a focus. You're going to have to stop focusing on being mad about what you're not doing and get excited about what you already had the capacity to do right now without anything else. All right? All right. So I'll see you. I'll be looking for your emails, and I'm serious. I'm not going to be coming and finding you. If you're serious, you email me. If you don't email me, I know you're not serious. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to tell you something you're not going to do nothing with. But those of you that email me, I'm going to put you to the test. I'm going to show you something that took me 10 years to figure out and show you just in a matter of 10 days, 10 plasmas, how you can turn your whole life around. And it took me 10 years to do it. I say, all right. I say, and I say, L. All right. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please send them in the email. Don't text me. You got my number. Don't text me. What's the instruction? Email me because I'm gonna create a file of this and I'm going to contact you and let you know because I'm gonna be doing something about each of these kin for the next 10 days. I say, and I say, yo, this is going to conclude our session. Thank you for taking time out on the spur of the moment. And I look forward to you correcting the error in human consciousness and artificial time. Peace.